There is a special kind of freedom that comes with living alone, a quiet independence that allows you to move at your own pace, fill your space with things you love, and live on your own terms. But with that independence comes responsibility, and as the years go by, it becomes even more important to be mindful of daily habits and choices. While living alone can be fulfilling and peaceful, certain behaviors can make life harder, riskier, or even lonelier than it needs to be. Avoiding a few common pitfalls can help ensure that living alone remains a source of strength rather than a cause for concern. One of the biggest mistakes many older people make when living alone is neglecting their social life. It's easy to fall into the habit of spending most days in solitude, telling yourself that you're fine being alone or that making plans is too much of a hassle. But isolation has a way of creeping in quietly, and before you know it, days without meaningful interaction turn into weeks. Human connection is vital at every stage of life, and when you live alone, it's even more important to make the effort to stay in touch with family, friends, or neighbors. Even if you're not the most social person, a simple phone call, a coffee date, or joining a local group can make all the difference in maintaining emotional well-being. Ignoring physical health is another thing that can quietly lead to bigger issues. When no one is around to remind you to eat well, exercise, or go to the doctor, it's easy to push these things to the back of your mind. Skipping meals, avoiding movement, or delaying medical checkups might not seem like a big deal in a moment, but over time, these habits can take a toll. Making small efforts, like having regular meal times, going for short walks, or setting reminders for doctor's appointments, can help maintain strength, mobility, and overall health. Living alone doesn't mean you have to face these things alone. Finding a friend to check in with or a group that encourages physical activity can be a helpful motivator. A common habit that can create problems is keeping the home in a state that is no longer safe or manageable. That doesn't mean everything has to be spotless or perfect, but clutter, poor lighting, and misplaced objects can lead to accidents. Something as simple as a loose rug or a poorly placed chair can be a trip hazard. Regularly checking your home for potential dangers, making sure floors are clear, adding nightlights to hallways, or installing handrails where needed, can make all the difference in preventing falls and injuries. Another mistake many people make when living alone is ignoring financial matters. It's easy to assume that everything is in order, but without regular monitoring, bills can pile up, unnecessary subscriptions may drain bank accounts, or worse, scams can become a serious threat. Fraudsters often target older people living alone, knowing they may be more vulnerable to phone calls or emails that seem legitimate. Taking time to review finances, setting up automatic payments, and staying aware of common scams can help avoid unnecessary stress or financial loss. If managing finances feels overwhelming, seeking help from a trusted family member or professional can provide peace of mind. One thing that often goes unnoticed is the risk of not having an emergency plan in place. Many people assume they'll be fine on their own, but accidents and medical emergencies can happen unexpectedly. Having a plan, whether it's a medical alert system, an agreement with a neighbor to check in, or keeping emergency numbers easily accessible, can provide security in case something goes wrong. Even something as simple as making sure a friend or family member knows your daily routine can be helpful, so that if they don't hear from you, they know to check in. Living alone can also sometimes lead to poor eating habits. Without anyone else to cook for, some people skip meals, rely too much on processed foods, or eat too little without realizing it. Nutrition plays a major role in maintaining energy, strength, and mental clarity, and making the effort to eat balanced meals is crucial. Cooking for one can feel like a chore, but finding simple, nutritious meals or even sharing meals with friends once in a while can make a big difference. Some communities also offer meal delivery programs for older adults, which can be a great way to ensure you're eating well without too much effort. Another thing to be mindful of is relying too heavily on television or technology for entertainment. While watching TV or browsing the internet can be enjoyable, too much screen time can lead to a more sedentary lifestyle and reduce opportunities for real social engagement. Finding a balance, whether through reading, engaging in a hobby, or taking part in community activities, keeps life interesting and prevents feelings of isolation. It's important to make sure that entertainment doesn't replace real-life experiences and interactions. Ignoring home maintenance is another issue that can cause bigger problems over time. When living alone, it's easy to put off small repairs or overlook things like checking smoke detectors, fixing leaks, or servicing appliances. However, small problems can quickly turn into larger, more expensive issues. Setting a routine for home maintenance, whether it's a personal checklist or hiring help when needed, ensures that the home remains safe and comfortable. One thing that often gets overlooked is failing to ask for help when it's needed. Many people who live alone take pride in their independence, which is a wonderful thing, but it can sometimes lead to stubbornness when assistance is actually necessary. There is no shame in reaching out for support, whether it's for household chores, transportation, or emotional support. Asking for help doesn't mean losing independence. It means making sure that you're living in a way that is both safe and fulfilling. Finally, perhaps the most important thing to avoid when living alone is falling into the mindset that you are alone in the world. While it's true that you may spend much of your time in solitude, that doesn't mean you don't have people who care about you. It's easy to think that others are too busy, that you don't want to bother them, or that no one would notice if you reached out, but that's rarely true. Staying connected, reaching out when you need company, and making an effort to maintain relationships are essential for a happy, fulfilling life. Living alone can be one of the most rewarding ways to experience life, offering freedom, comfort, and independence. But making small adjustments, staying engaged, and taking care of yourself can make all the difference between merely existing and truly thriving. It's never too late to create a life that is full, connected, and safe, no matter where you live or how much time you spend on your own. Living alone offers a unique kind of freedom, a lifestyle that allows for quiet moments of reflection, personal routines, and the ability to shape each day exactly as you like. But while independence is something to be cherished, it's also important to recognize that living alone comes with responsibilities, both to yourself and to your well-being. Avoiding the common pitfalls of isolation, neglect, and risky behaviors can make all the difference between simply getting by and truly thriving in this stage of life. One of the most common challenges for people living alone is the gradual shrinking of their social circles. As years go by, friends move away, family members get busy, and suddenly the invitations to gatherings seem to come less frequently. It's easy to slip into the habit of waiting for others to reach out, but this often leads to feelings of loneliness. Staying socially engaged requires effort, but it's worth it. Even if you're not naturally outgoing, small steps, like attending a local class, joining a walking group, or simply chatting with a neighbor, can make a big difference. Friendships don't always have to be deep to be meaningful. Sometimes, a friendly conversation at the grocery store or a regular phone call with an old friend can lift the spirit and remind you that you're not alone. Another thing to be mindful of is how easily habits can slip when there's no one around to notice. For example, when living alone, it's easy to fall into the pattern of staying up too late, sleeping irregular hours, or skipping meals simply because no one else is around to encourage structure. While it might not seem like a big deal at first, inconsistent routines can take a toll on both physical and mental health. Establishing a regular schedule, one that includes proper meal times, a consistent bedtime, and moments of physical activity, can bring stability to your days and make you feel more in control of your life. Neglecting self-care is another mistake that can creep up over time. When there's no one around to remind you to take care of yourself, things like grooming, dressing well, or even keeping up with regular hygiene can start to feel like less of a priority. But how you present yourself to the world plays a major role in how you feel. Taking time each day to dress in a way that makes you feel good, to maintain personal hygiene, and to keep up with little routines like moisturizing your skin or styling your hair isn't about vanity. It's about self-respect. The way you treat yourself sets the tone for how you approach life, and making an effort in your personal appearance can actually boost your mood and confidence. Another issue that can arise when living alone is the risk of becoming too sedentary. Without the natural movement that comes from living with others, whether it's chasing after grandchildren, walking around the house to complete daily tasks, or simply getting up to answer the door, it's easy to spend too much time sitting. Lack of movement can lead to stiffness, decreased mobility, and even increased health risks like heart disease or poor circulation. Making a point to stay active, whether it's through morning stretches, a daily walk, or even light household chores, can help keep the body strong and the mind sharp. Even small bursts of movement throughout the day can make a huge difference in maintaining flexibility and energy levels. One habit that can also lead to problems is a tendency to avoid dealing with paperwork, finances, or important documents. When living alone, there's no one else to remind you about due dates, insurance policies, or medical paperwork. Some people find financial matters overwhelming or simply prefer to ignore them, but this can lead to trouble down the road. Taking time once a month to review bills, update necessary documents, and make sure everything is in order can prevent unnecessary stress. If handling finances feels daunting, enlisting the help of a trusted friend, family member, or financial advisor can provide peace of mind. Another thing that often gets overlooked when living alone is home safety. Without a second person to double-check doors, windows, or appliances, it's easy to become careless about security. Forgetting to lock up at night, leaving the stove on, or failing to test smoke alarms are all small things that can lead to major consequences. Taking a few minutes each night to do a quick check of the house, ensuring that doors are locked, electronics are turned off, and safety measures are in place, can provide an extra layer of security and peace of mind. One particularly dangerous mistake is ignoring changes in health. When you live alone, it's tempting to dismiss small aches, changes in vision, or occasional dizzy spells as nothing serious. But minor symptoms can sometimes be warning signs of larger health issues, and without someone else around to notice these changes, they can go unchecked for too long. Paying attention to your body and seeking medical advice when something feels off is crucial. Regular checkups and preventative care can help catch potential problems early, ensuring that you stay as healthy and independent as possible. Another thing to avoid when living alone is falling into the habit of eating the same meals every day. It's easy to rely on convenience foods or to stick to the same simple dishes out of routine, but variety in diet is important for overall health. Eating a mix of fruits, vegetables, proteins, and whole grains helps keep energy levels stable and provides the necessary nutrients for aging bodies. If cooking every day feels overwhelming, batch cooking meals ahead of time or joining a meal delivery service can take some of the stress out of planning and preparing food. Finally, one of the most important things to avoid when living alone is the idea that you have to do everything by yourself. There is often a sense of pride in being independent, but that doesn't mean refusing help when it's needed. Whether it's asking a neighbor to assist with heavy lifting, hiring someone to take care of home maintenance, or reaching out to family members for emotional support, there is strength in knowing when to accept help. No one gets through life alone, and living independently doesn't mean you have to isolate yourself from the people who care about you. Living alone can be a wonderful and fulfilling experience, but it requires a conscious effort to stay engaged, active, and aware. By avoiding these common mistakes and making small, thoughtful adjustments to daily life, it's possible to create an environment that is safe, healthy, and full of joy. Independence is a gift, and taking the right steps ensures that you can continue to enjoy it for many years to come. Living alone is a privilege, a testament to one's ability to maintain independence, make decisions freely, and shape life exactly as one chooses. But with that freedom comes a responsibility of caring for oneself in ways that might not have been necessary when surrounded by family or a partner. It's easy to fall into routines that are comfortable but not necessarily beneficial, and over time, small habits can either enhance life or slowly make it more difficult. Avoiding pitfalls, staying aware of risks, and actively working toward a balanced and fulfilling life can make all the difference in how enjoyable and sustainable independent living truly is. One of the most powerful things to remember is that life is meant to be lived fully, no matter your age or circumstances. Too many people who live alone allow their world to shrink, convincing themselves that they don't need much social interaction, stimulation, or excitement. But isolation can creep up slowly, turning into loneliness, which can affect both mental and physical health. Human connection is one of the most important aspects of a fulfilling life, and even those who cherish their solitude need to ensure they have regular contact with others. Whether it's joining a group, attending a community event, or even just making a habit of chatting with neighbors, every small effort to stay connected contributes to emotional well-being. Another important part of living well alone is maintaining a sense of purpose. When daily life lacks structure or meaningful activities, it's easy to feel like time is just passing rather than being truly lived. Having something to look forward to, whether it's a hobby, a project, volunteer work, or even a weekly outing, helps create a sense of motivation and excitement. Purpose isn't always about grand achievements. Sometimes, it's simply about having reasons to get up in the morning and engage with the world. Keeping the mind active through reading, learning new skills, or engaging in creative pursuits ensures that life remains interesting and fulfilling. It's also essential to be mindful of the way one speaks to oneself. The thoughts we entertain have a profound impact on our mood, confidence, and overall outlook on life. Falling into patterns of negative self-talk, convincing oneself that getting older means becoming irrelevant, less capable, or unwanted, can create a sense of defeat that affects daily life. Confidence doesn't fade with age. If anything, the wisdom gained through experience should be a source of pride. Maintaining a positive inner dialogue, treating oneself with kindness, and focusing on strengths rather than perceived shortcomings can help cultivate a more joyful and self-assured approach to life. Taking care of one's surroundings is another way to ensure that living alone remains a source of comfort rather than stress. A home should be a sanctuary, a place that feels warm, inviting, and safe. Keeping it organized, free of hazards, and well-maintained not only makes daily life easier, but also reduces unnecessary risks. Making small adjustments, such as improving lighting, securing loose rugs, or rearranging furniture to create clear walking paths, can prevent accidents and make the home more functional. Ensuring that emergency contacts are easily accessible and that safety measures like smoke detectors and security locks are in place provides an added layer of protection and peace of mind. Another common mistake that can lead to difficulties is failing to adapt to changing needs. Many people resist making adjustments, telling themselves that they don't need help or that their current routines are just fine. But being proactive about changes, whether it's installing grab bars in the bathroom, using a medical alert system, or switching to more comfortable footwear, can make a huge difference in long-term independence. Planning for the future, rather than waiting until a crisis forces change, ensures that life continues smoothly with minimal disruption. Financial awareness is another crucial aspect of living alone successfully. Staying informed about one's financial situation, keeping track of expenses, and avoiding unnecessary risks, such as scams or careless spending, can provide long-term security. Many people find it helpful to have a trusted family member or financial advisor review important documents and accounts periodically to ensure everything is in order. Money should be a source of stability, not stress, and staying proactive about financial planning allows for greater peace of mind. Taking care of physical health should always remain a priority, no matter how independent one feels. It's easy to dismiss minor aches or assume that small changes in health are just part of aging, but staying on top of medical checkups, eating well, and remaining active all contribute to a longer, healthier life. Making an effort to engage in regular movement, whether it's stretching, walking, or gentle exercises, helps maintain strength and flexibility. When the body is cared for, daily activities remain easier and independence is preserved for longer. Another key to maintaining a fulfilling life while living alone is embracing change rather than fearing it. Life will continue to evolve, and resisting change only makes transitions more difficult. Being open to new experiences, new technologies, and new ways of thinking allows for continued growth and adaptation. Whether it's learning to use modern communication tools to stay in touch with loved ones, adjusting to different social norms, or simply allowing oneself to try something different, an open-minded approach to change makes life far more enjoyable. Above all, the most important thing to avoid when living alone is the belief that life has already been lived. Every day presents an opportunity for new experiences, connections, and joys. Whether it's taking a trip, learning a new skill, making a new friend, or simply enjoying the quiet beauty of an afternoon at home,